We spent 16 days in Bangkok, and if you ignore this one piece of advice like we did, it'll leave you frustrated.
And where we stayed? Well, 15 minutes doesn't sound like much. In this city, it's the difference between a great day and a total meltdown.
But we found one of the coolest neighborhoods we've ever been in that most travelers completely skip because it looks like a junkyard from the outside. But inside, it's steampunk Bangkok. We'll share everything we do differently, and at the end, we'll tell you everything we spent. I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin. Welcome back to Finding Gina Marie, where we share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way.
Bangkok's located at the southern end of Thailand, and where you're arriving from matters an awful lot. We've been in Laos for 2 weeks and arrived in Thailand via a slow boat on the Mekong River. Bangkok's about 900 kilometers from where that boat ended. In distance, that's not far. In every other way, it felt like a different planet.
We took a bolt from the airport and arrived just before midnight. And when we arrived, I really didn't understand this part of town at all. It wasn't the dramatic skyline Bangkok or even a traditional neighborhood that we would normally stay in. It felt industrial, in between. Usually this is an area we drive past, not stay in. We spent our entire time at the Norma Hotel Satan, and it's in the central business district. We chose it because it wasn't a super touristy part of town, which worked out great from that perspective.
But here's what we'd change. We were about 15 minutes on foot from the nearest MRT station, Bangkok's Metro. In most cities, that's nothing. In Bangkok's February heat and humidity, it adds up. Every boat ride through traffic was a reminder that the Metro was the smarter answer. It's fast, modern, air-conditioned, and connects to almost everywhere you want to be.
If we went back, we'd prioritize being within 5 minutes of a metro station. Even though we knew that that was something we should do, we talked ourselves into thinking 15 minutes wouldn't matter. Ideally, we'd also be in a location closer to the river. We booked our hotel in November for a February arrival. However, that wasn't nearly enough time. All the hotels that were in our price range by the river were already sold out by then, which was pretty frustrating. So we felt like we made the best of a not ideal circumstance, but just be prepared and book as far in advance as possible.
One important note. Thailand restricts short-term rentals in most buildings, so Airbnbs are often illegal. That's why we try to respect the local regulations and chose a hotel instead.
We would really love to hear from you. If you stayed in an ideal location in Bangkok, we would love to hear what it is. And despite all that, Kevin found a great cafe for us for first thing in the morning. It was called Popote, and it was a French bakery with great cappuccinos and delicious food, including homemade yogurt, which was thick and creamy, exactly the way I like it.
And the service was wonderful. The downside was we love to sit outside at these cafes, and this one had tables out there for us, but it was right on a busy street. And the cars going by and the motorcycles and everything else kind of disrupted our morning calm. But we also got to watch really cool things happening on the street. Little shops setting up, people outside to sew clothing, and all kinds of little craft work going on. It was worth the little aggravation.
Yeah, it definitely meant that Bangkok had a lot to tell us, and we were interested to hear what it was. One of the neighborhoods we were eager to check out was Talat Noi. It sounded like exactly our kind of neighborhood. It was one of Bangkok's oldest, but it was built around the motor parts and mechanical trade that has defined the area for generations. What we didn't expect was what the neighborhood would do with that identity.
Now there's a lot of vehicles on the road, so having a whole neighborhood full of shops to repair them and manufacture things is understandable in this city. What we didn't expect is they also are using some of these parts and pieces to create artwork. We kept walking along going, oh, well look at this. Oh, well look at that. So many things to see in this neighborhood that you would think would just be workshops. It's worth going down.
In fact, one of the places that we wanted to go for coffee while we were in this district was a place called Mother Roaster. Unfortunately, Google told us that it was closed, so we went somewhere else. We'll talk about that, but first I want to just say that this place was the coolest, and it wasn't closed. Unfortunately, we'd already had our coffee, and there was no room to even sit down, but it was a place that we would recommend you try because it had such a cool vibe and energy.
It's a little confusing when you walk up to the building because the coffee shop's actually upstairs. So you go in and you look around, you're going, what's going on here?
In fact, even to get up the stairs, you're having to walk alongside a huge piled high stack of auto parts.
Mother Roaster was started by a woman named Auntie Pim.
And she runs free coffee workshops for elderly people so that people her age can spend their golden years following their passions, which you have to know that we absolutely adore. This neighborhood had one thing after another to appreciate. First of all, there's an elephant parade, and all throughout the neighborhood, you will see elephants with an assortment of different decor.
Each of the elephants is hand-painted by a different artist, and they're all very different and very lovely.
Including one that is built with recycled auto parts.
Of course.
We love street art and murals, and Talat Noi has those in spades. I think this artwork right here perfectly captures the neighborhood with its tin roofs, lanterns, even the rusted Fiat. Like, I don't know. I think it's a masterpiece.
All the gears and auto parts. Very nice.
So there's this photo gallery that I think is quite interesting. It's basically if Grandpa Charon Crunk were to sit down and share his stories, this is what they would be. And there's 49 photos all along the walls with different moments of history here. And I think it's just really fabulous. You know, I feel like when you get away from all the cars and all the noise and you go into these little side streets and there's art to really appreciate just the history here, really wonderful.
There's a lot of quiet alleys. Mostly quiet alleys.
Loud people.
Loud people. Sometimes a motorbike, but away from the heavy traffic.
Yes.
When you're walking in the neighborhood, there's a map that you want to look at. It points out all the decorative manhole covers. Now, these aren't little tiny manhole covers. These are big, rectangular, artistically detailed manhole covers. I've never seen
Colorful,
them.
beautiful.
Yeah, they tell stories, which is what you want to do. You want to follow them along and get the story out of each one of them. And remember when Judy talked about that Fiat in the mural? Well, there's a vintage Fiat, completely rusted out, parked in front of a craft chocolate shop with a pink neon sign. He's also got a Michelin man standing outside to guard him.
Which I think is perfect marketing.
I feel like this neighborhood offered one thing after another over and over again. In fact, we made the mistake of missing things. We had to go back through the neighborhood multiple times. Well worth it.
Yeah, it was probably one of the best neighborhoods we've ever spent time in. The coffee experience we did have in Talat Noi was great, but we had another experience that was a little bit iffy. Manacraft was a wonderful coffee shop.
We're here at Manacraft, which is a really cute little coffee shop.
Yes, and what's quite interesting is they have handmade pottery here, and the most interesting cups. Mine's more bold, but instead of water, there's hot tea filled with it too, and lovely music playing in the background. I feel like this for sure is one of those quiet havens in Bangkok.
Yeah, it has a lot of pottery craft and plates and art on the plates, and also some clothing they sell upstairs.
With handmade, natural dyed fabrics.
Very, very cool. I feel like we're gonna get a lot of this in this part of town. So.
Yes, we're on the fringes of Chinatown. The place that maybe didn't live up to its expectations was Heng Tai Mansion. It's a 200-year-old Chinese merchant house right in the neighborhood. It's got genuinely beautiful elements inside. It's got original lacquered woodwork, painted ceilings, decorative friezes that have been there for centuries, but it's not well maintained. And the centerpiece courtyard pool was not what you'd hope for.
No one's swimming in that.
Whether it earns your time depends on how much you love discovering places that are a lot faded.
Make sure you give Talat Noi a good full morning. And go early because the weather there can get hot and there's a lot of sun in that neighborhood.
We were in Bangkok just before Lunar New Year, and we really wanted to check out its Chinatown. And it didn't disappoint. I feel like it was colorful. There were tons of food stalls and vendors, and Like, it was a long, busy route to follow.
A lot of crowds.
But it was really enjoyable. I feel like it was an experience that I expected it to be, and it lived up to it. We'd heard about a flower district, and so we wanted to check it out. And it was definitely more calm than the Chinatown area was, but absolutely stunning. Now, we just happened to be there for Valentine's Day, so maybe that had something to do with all of the beautiful blooms. But at the same time, I have a feeling that that area was always going to be as full of beauty and blooms. While we were there, we were obviously getting hungry, and we saw this dumpling place that looked very local, and we wanted to just have that experience here in Chinatown. It was just off of Yaowarat. We got 2 types of dumplings and a drink, and honestly, it cost under $8, which we thought was a pretty good steal, especially compared to some of the places that we ate dumplings in Taiwan.
Bangkok's historic core will humble you if you arrive too late. We learned that firsthand, and we learned it differently at each of the sites we visited.
Now, the Grand Palace we got right. We went early before the heat locked in and the crowds arrived, which was really smart. And even with that, there were still crowds. Well, that was easy and painless.
Yep.
I tried to do it on the website, and I could not. And of course, if you're using Get Your Guide or something like that for a fast pass, it costs more. I didn't think we needed that.
So we're at the Grand Palace, and we thought we needed cash for everything, but tickets actually, we were able to purchase at a kiosk, and that worked out well.
With credit card, not cash.
They made me buy long pants, so those could be bought by credit card too, so we didn't have to use cash for that. This is the most intense security we had any temple or any place we've gone to in Thailand. So many checks.
I mean, as you were walking through, they basically like split the line, parting of the Red Sea.
Yeah.
If you weren't dressed appropriately, you had to go somewhere else and buy something.
Right. Facial scans, no drone zones, all the signs, a lot of security people. This is a pretty well protected place. So.
Well, when you see how elegant and gorgeous it is,
Yeah, I guess.
you could kind of understand somewhat.
All right, we're on our way to check it out. It's coming up on 9 o'clock. Just opened at 8:30. There's already tour crowds coming in. I mean, big tour groups, plus just a lot of people filtering into this place. I imagine within the next hour, it's going to be super packed. So we're going to try to get as much of it covered as we can.
We don't have arms big enough to reach out to capture the magnificence of some of these buildings behind us. The gold is impressive. I would say all of the
detail work.
The detail work is what I'm going to call opulent. The fact that these mosaics, they're so well crafted and they're so detailed. Now, this is not an ancient experience. This is modern day Thailand from the 1700s. So, but it's still really spectacular, and it looks like it's still in pristine condition.
It's a big site with a lot to see, so you're going to spend at least 2 hours there. Make sure you have enough water, and watch how much time you're spending out in the sun.
Now, fortunately, they're selling water there, and it's cold and refreshing, but we went through a lot of it.
Yes.
And it really is a huge complex, so there's a lot to see. Wat Pho was a place we did not get right. We arrived in the afternoon, and it was so hot and so humid and crowded. If you were looking for any kind of zen, I don't think you found it there. And it's kind of a shame because it's considered the birthplace of traditional Thai massage. The techniques were first written down here, carved into stone tablets during the 1800s, and placed on the wall so the knowledge would be available to everyone. So it's not just a temple, it's also a library.
And it's a great library because it's air conditioned. So a lot of people were doing some serious study about Thai massage there.
True story. It's really stunning. I am quite impressed with everything that we've seen so far.
There's so much here. You know, sometimes you walk in these places and there's all this blank area. Nothing. It's jam-packed.
It was 300 baht, which I think felt a little high from some of the temples and other places we've been. But there's a museum here that's absolutely incredible, all about Thai massage and medicine. I think it's fascinating.
So here's a consumer alert. When we were walking around looking for the entrance, a person noticed us and said, "Do you need help getting around?"
Well, we had arrived at 12:30 and he said it was closed for cleaning until 1:30, which we'd heard of the scam similar to this. I think when you're in it, you're maybe a little bit like, is he telling me something truthful? Because he pulled out a map and he was recommending these other places we could go to while we were waiting for it to reopen, because he wanted us to go somewhere and get a tuk-tuk, which was going to cost 200 baht, which I knew that it should only cost 50 baht. And it clued me in that, okay, this guy is trying to take advantage of us.
He's working commission for the other tuk-tuk drivers, yeah.
Yes. So we just kept walking, and that's what we suggest that you do. We said thank you and just did what we were coming to do, which was to visit the temple, and it was perfect. We had a great time. It was not closed for cleaning. Even if you're not someone who loves temples, we really think seeing the reclining Buddha is worth going there for. Now, I'll admit that there is a long line to go in and it's crowded, and you start at one end and then you walk all the way around from head to feet. But it's a beautiful room with very interesting murals along the walls, and just the size of this Buddha makes it interesting, and lying down even more so. Wat Pho and Wat Arun are natural companions. Wat Pho on the eastern bank of the Chao Phraya River, and Wat Arun directly across the river on the western side. There is a super cheap ferry that costs only pennies from the Ta Tien Pier, and it connects them in minutes. And when we were on the water, Bangkok could finally make some spatial sense. You stop feeling like you're lost in a sprawl and start understanding that this city was always built around this river. Wat Arun is genuinely beautiful. The porcelain mosaic spires, the guardian figures, the ornate detail on every surface. And we climbed up to the upper level and got a view over the whole complex, which was worth every step.
Once again, we went in the afternoon. Don't do that. Both Wat Pho and Wat Arun reward early morning visits. They're big. There's a lot to see. You want to spend time there. You don't want to burn yourself out because it's so hot and you're just sweaty and want to leave.
Cross the river, do both in the same morning. That's the version we'd do next time. After all of the intense heat and humidity and crowds from the historic sites, we needed a reset. So we ended up in Lumphini Park.
Unlike the temples where everyone's pushing and shoving to see everything they want to see, this park was just so calm and peaceful. There's no agenda, there's no heavy pace, you're not fighting people to get into a spot. You can stroll along and take your time and just enjoy everything that it has to offer.
It felt like an oasis, and you could do some interesting people watching. You could also watch the birds and this creature over here, which I did not expect to find. It was just crawling around through the grass. It was fascinating, and there were so many eyes on it once people realized it was there.
And cameras. Lots of cameras on it. So when you're thinking about Bangkok, remember, this is a very spread out city with many different faces. The calm is there, the chaos is there. Same city, just all together.
The location for our accommodations wasn't all bad. We came across this little hidden gem that we never would have found on our own, but we bumped into it when we were walking around looking for other things to do.
It was great for late night coffee. There was also a bar in there. They had outdoor seating. They had some seating upstairs. And all through it were these pieces of art.
If you're not familiar with the story of The Little Prince, it's about a small boy who travels the universe trying to understand what actually matters. Simple things, the people you love, the time you give them. The imagery is everywhere in this shop. A small figure looking out at something vast. I don't know, I absolutely loved it, and it reminded me a lot of how we travel and the simple things that we've learned to enjoy. Now, we don't think you need a reason to have a splurge meal, but we found one, and it was Valentine's Day. We came across Supanniga, and we just had to try it out. Tell us about what you're eating, because it's really tasty.
This is a pork that is really tender, and it just tears apart really easy, and it's got some share from Judy's rice. But it's got a lovely sauce and some leaves that give you a nice tang to it. So flavorful, and we kind of picked this place out of a list. It's one of my favorite meals here in Bangkok, so I'm really happy. The cabbage is good, Chinese cabbage. Judy's crab is great. Dipping sauce is great. I don't know.
So this was fried Chinese cabbage, and both of those two dishes were Michelin recommended here. So
Yeah, I'm glad I decided on this one.
Voyage Vault, the personal finance app for people who love to travel that we built for trips like this, just got a big update. It now will scan any document, and Apple Intelligence automatically pulls in the details of your confirmations, flight details, receipts, and transaction amounts. Everything in one place, ready when you need it. Grab the free update in the App Store or find a link in the description.
Now, if you're looking for malls, which a lot of us aren't all the time, but in Bangkok, there's something different. They're not just for shopping.
Look at this place.
Space after space after space that have restaurants, the gourmet market, and this is, look at this, look at the burger here.
I actually feel like I'm in an amusement park.
Oh.
It feels like an amusement park.
Yeah, more like a theme park.
They're all trying to beat each other in how big and grandiose they can be.
We didn't spend a lot of time at any of them, but we did go to M-Sphere for a group meetup, and it was over the top with Michelin star or Michelin guide stalls. The food was outstanding and 3 stories of delicious things to eat. So if you're looking for some place to cool off and still get some exercise in, these malls are a great idea. I think we left Bangkok with mixed feelings. Number one, it did not help that we arrived from such a peaceful place like Luang Prabang, Laos. But at the same time, it's so sprawling, and needing a car to get from one end to another and having to be really intentional and try to avoid rush hour traffic is something that we don't really enjoy.
Yeah, if we would have been closer to metro stations, we might have felt a little bit differently. But because our nearest decent metro station was a 15-minute walk in the heat, it made a huge difference for us. So if you have better access to the city, you may find more there. Now, it is a sprawling city, which is one of the reasons it probably left a little bit of a negative taste in our mouth. We like to walk a city. We like to explore.
But I was dripping by the time we arrived any place. I think that sometimes it's a little bit hard when you've got sweat dripping into your eyes to have a fully enjoyable experience of just walking and exploring a city.
Now, if you like a city that offers a lot of variety and a lot of things to do, yes, Bangkok is that city. And it does have a lot to offer. And there's all kinds of things you can do there. A good summary of it is when we have to spend more time getting from place to place in a city and less time enjoying the places we're in that city, that flips it for us a little bit.
And yet it was full of surprises. And our favorite neighborhood, I think, almost anywhere in terms of how interesting and artistic that was. So I think there was a lot to love. There was a tree near our hotel on a busy Bangkok street. Someone had nailed a plastic water bottle to it, turned it into a feeder so a bird would have something to drink. The traffic was going past, the city was moving at full speed, and someone had taken the time to do that. That is Bangkok too.
For such a busy city, I think they appreciate nature.
Yeah, and I think you just do have to slow down a bit in order to notice all of those small little touches.
And just like in Chiang Mai, the Thai people are amazingly kind. They were very helpful when we needed to get something delivered. They took care of us. So the people there make the city shine even more than the city itself.
Yeah, 100% true. We've really enjoyed our time in Thailand overall when it comes to the people and their kindness. Let's talk about what everything cost. Travel cost us $116 or $58 per person. Accommodations at Norma Hotel Saton were $1,304 or $82 per day. Getting around the city cost $116, which was a mix of Bolt, ferries, metro charges, and tolls. Dining and groceries were a total of $874 or $27 per person per day. Tours cost us a total of $66. Getting my hair colored, cut, and moisturized cost $201. Still higher than I expected it to be since this was not a Western hair salon. The total cost was $2,696. Minus the cost of transportation to travel from the border of Thailand to Bangkok, we spent $2,580, which breaks down to $161 per day and $81 per person per day. While you might not need a visa to arrive in Thailand for a short stay, you do need to have a digital arrival card, and it takes 5 minutes to fill out online. So do that within 3 days before you arrive. We don't typically repeat cities, but Luang Prabang in Laos was the exception. You can watch that video here.
Thank you so much for joining us today in Bangkok. The best compliment you can give to us is to share our videos with your friends and family.
And remember to
Wander more
worry less.
and bring a passport.
Until next time.
Until next time.